Hey there, Alex Kidman here from Alex Reviews Tech with the second part of my review of the Polaroid Generation 3 Thrasher camera. And look, here it is. If you watch the unboxing, you know this is quite an incredible looking camera. The style really is something else, and you'll either love it or hate it. Obviously, simpler designs are more available, but I have not actually physically tested this. Now, there are some definite upsides here. So, for example, loading the film in, really very, very easy. It's a very easy camera to operate. Nice big red friendly button there. It's got a double exposure setting there, and then around the back, just the flash control and power, and that's your lot. I mean, it's very, very simple to operate. I did take it out, and I was intending to use it at Newcastle Pinfest just to take some retro-style photos of some retro-style pinball tables, and I didn't end up doing that. There's a simple reason for that. I had the camera on me. It's a kind of hefty, heavy thing as well, like basically half a kilo once all said and done to carry around with you. It wasn't the weight that was the problem, it was the developing time, because everyone knows that kind of classic, shake it like a Polaroid picture thing. Well, that's not what you're meant to do with iFilm, the new generation of Polaroid film. It really does need a darkroom or a dark space at least. I actually tended to just kind of hide it underneath a book for about 10 minutes while it developed. But the issue there was a pretty simple one. I didn't have the 10 minutes to spare to, hide it under a jacket or in a book or something where it could develop, where I didn't want to be doing other things. And that is a bit of a limiter on the photographic process. Yes, you're getting an actual print, but you're not getting it super, super fast. It's not like this thing shoots out the shots immediately done, and it's not like you can just wiggle around and watch them develop in real time, or at least you're not meant to do that. I didn't do that because it says not to do that. Now, there is an app for this particular camera. I'm going to say right here and now, you don't need it. And the reason you don't need it, and this is one of the little tricks and traps with this particular camera, is this is the Gen 3 Now camera. The app works best, to my understanding, with the Gen 3 Now Plus camera, because it's got Bluetooth. You can do some things with exposures. But this, the Thrasher Edition, costs the same as the Gen 3 Now Plus camera does. So you get a better camera if you gave up this styling. About the only thing that you can do with the app is it has a scanning facility, but it's just taking a photo of your photos. Your camera can probably do that a whole lot better. You don't need it. I mean, it's not a terrible thing to have, but it's certainly not a prerequisite. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not that's worthwhile. But of course, then there's the question of the photos themselves. I tried to mix up a few styles of different things, keeping the kind of retro styling of this kind of camera in mind. But first off, I got a relative to take a photo of me, just your classic Polaroid portrait shot. And look, this is okay. I don't know that we need the Thrasher banding around that. Now, you don't get a choice as to which frames are going to come out. They're all apparently randomized for what it's worth. But this is an all right shot. I'm not the most attractive person. It's not the best focus, but it does have that kind of classic Polaroid feel to it. I also got curious about whether or not you could use it to take selfies. And yeah, you totally can. Actually, this might be the best shot I've taken with this camera, which is weird because I wasn't looking through the viewfinder as I was taking it, but it's pretty easy to look down the barrel of the lens while you're taking a photo. It is, however, also a little bit too easy to take some fairly ordinary photos. There's just, there's a very definite limit to the technology in this camera and the style. And okay, some might argue that that's a creative limit and it creates unique photos, but I think you can kind of do that with existing technology. And you do need to bear in mind that this is $4 per photo if you were using these Thrasher frames. So the costs can kind of pile up. I am a big Godzilla fan, so of course I was going to take a Godzilla shot. Now, this highlights one of the other challenges it's got, which is this looks like it was taken in a really darkened room. It really was not that dark. Direct sunlight is the friend of the Polaroid. Any kind of even moderately dim lighting, not well lit scenes, and you're going to end up with these kind of subpar photos. I also thought I'd expand my retro stylings by taking a photo of a retro console, the classic Famicom, but here, the framing just didn't quite work out. The viewfinder, of course, is not actually looking through the lens, and I think that's part of the problem, and I thought, well, okay, I'll try and take that photo again. And look, that's a better framing of the Famicom itself, but it's still not exactly a compelling photo to speak of. I wish it could be a little bit more, and again, $4 a throw each and every time. And of course, this is the internet, and the internet thrives on cat photos. Again, this is actually not that badly lit an area, and I get a kind of moody thing going on with the cat here, which is sort of okay, I guess. I don't want to think about what those skulls signify. Now, I did mention that you don't get a choice as to which Thrasher frames you get or even the order, apparently, that they come out in. Obviously, I only had the one roll of film to check that with. I did end up with my second favourite photo, mostly because of the framing around it, around the most innocent of my cats. Yeah, destroy. This just amuses me. It's not a particularly great photo, but it's kind of entertaining just because of that juxtaposition. So should you buy the Thrasher Polaroid camera? Well, look, it is a question of two things. First of all, there's the style, and you've really got to love this particular Thrasher style for this to make any sense at all, even if you did want a Polaroid camera, because the cost of this could get you the Now Plus camera, the Bluetooth enabled, the slightly better model, sells for the same price as this does. This is just the basic Gen 3 camera, which can be had without the Thrasher branding and styling for a little bit less, and that would be the more sensible buy if you didn't want this particular visual look. And then there's the question of whether or not it makes sense at all. And look, I get the creative arguments around this, and there is something kind of neat about having physical, actual photos to hand. That being said, yeah, I think this is a really hard sell just because of the cost of the film. Just the cost of processing alone really bumps it up quite a lot. And the fact that you're really only taking 8 photos at a time. Now, maybe my photographic technique with this could improve by taking a whole bunch more shots. I might get better with it over time, but I can do that immediately with digital. Printing digital is not that hard, and frankly, you could do some of these framing effects. You could even do some of these style filters with a digital camera. I do get the appeal of analog, but this feels like a very kind of expensive and limited way to go around getting it working. I don't think this is massively for me. I can see a market of people who might find it a fun thing, but I feel like the fun probably wears out a little too quickly given the asking price. But that's my opinion. What's your take? Are you a keen existing user of Polaroid cameras because these models have been around for a little bit? Do you think the Thrasher model really brings it into a new light just because of that really distinctive design? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe.